So, all you hear about these days is AI replacing jobs, right? But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it? Today, we're going to explore a totally different path. It's one that actually combines ancient myths with some seriously modern tech to create a powerful new partnership. So, let's dive in. Okay, so this is the big one, right? The question that's on pretty much everyone's mind. As AI gets smarter and smarter, are we all going to be out of a job? And look, it's a totally valid fear. But the answer? Well, it might not be what you're expecting. Because what if this whole human versus machine narrative is just wrong? What if the real story, the one that's going to shape our future, has nothing to do with competition? It's actually all about collaboration. And believe it or not, the first big clue is hidden on a chessboard. All right, so first things first. Before we can even talk about our relationship with AI, we've got to get on the same page about what it actually is, because it might not be what you think. So what is artificial intelligence? I mean, really? Well, according to Dan Huttenlocher from MIT, the key thing isn't the complex code. It's all about how it learns. See, you don't just give an AI a rulebook. Instead, you train it on massive amounts of data. And because it learns from data, it can adapt and evolve. That's exactly why it can feel so incredibly human, and also why it can be so darn unpredictable. And this is where Huttenlocher gives us this fantastic metaphor. He says to think about AI like a funhouse mirror. It's not some separate alien brain. Nope. It's a reflection of, well, us. It learns from the mountains of data we've all created, and when it reflects it back, it amplifies everything, both the good and the bad. And that right there, that's the real challenge, isn't it? On one hand, AI can take our best qualities, our creativity, our efficiency, and just boost them into the stratosphere. But on the other hand, it can take our worst tendencies, our biases, our ability to deceive, and magnify those too. It's exactly why we can't just wind it up and let it go. We have to be active partners here. Okay, so let's get back to that chessboard I mentioned. Because the story most of us know, the one that's stuck in our heads, is all about conflict, right? That huge moment when it felt like humanity was going head-to-head with its own creation. So check out this timeline. It all starts in 1997. The world is stunned when Garry Kasparov, the reigning chess champion, loses to IBM's supercomputer Deep Blue. The headlines were all, "The machines have won." But then, something amazing happens, and it happens fast. Just 1 year later, a whole new type of chess pops up, one where humans and AIs are on the same team. Fast forward to 2005, and get this. A team of amateur players using just 3 off-the-shelf computers wins a major tournament. They beat everyone, grandmasters and even the giant supercomputers. You see, while the whole world was obsessed with the man versus machine drama, the real story, the much more powerful one, was happening just off stage. The revolution wasn't about AI beating us. It was about what we could do when we teamed up with it. And this idea, this collaborative model, is really the path forward. It even has a perfect name, borrowed straight from Greek mythology, the centaur. And it boils down to this super simple but really powerful equation. A human plus an AI is better than an AI on its own. It's not a question of who's smarter. It's about the incredible power you unlock through partnership. So why a centaur? Well, think about the mythical creature, half human, half horse. It's the same idea. The human part brings the strategy, the creativity, that gut intuition, and most importantly, the ethical judgment. We understand the why. The AI part brings the raw horsepower, the insane calculation speed, the ability to see patterns in mountains of data, and analysis that never gets tired. You put them together and you get something entirely new, something better than either one could be alone. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory that only works in a chess game. The centaur model is already being put to work in some really high-stakes fields. For a perfect example, let's take a look at the world of finance. So Andrew Lo over at MIT decided to test this out. He asked an early version of ChatGPT for financial advice, and honestly, it gave some pretty terrible, generic, and even harmful advice. But then, just one version later, ChatGPT-4 gave nuanced, cautious, expert-level guidance, the kind of thing you'd expect from a human pro. The point is, the tool is getting better at a mind-blowing speed. But to turn it from just a tool into a true partner, a centaur, We have to build a framework of trust around it. So, how do we do that? How do we build a centaur we can actually trust? Well, it really comes down to three crucial things. First up, accuracy. The AI can't just be scraping the random corners of the internet. It needs to be fed expert, curated knowledge. Next, personalization. It has to be able to understand you, your specific needs, your situation, your goals. And finally, and this is the big one, trust. The AI has to operate within a solid ethical framework. Think of it like a doctor's Hippocratic oath. It has to be programmed to always put the user's best interests first. And all of this leads us to the final and maybe most important piece of the puzzle. If we're really going to partner with AI on this massive scale, how on earth do we make sure it stays safe and that it actually benefits all of us? I love this analogy from Dan Huttenlocher. He calls it the fork in a toaster problem. Nobody passes a law that says don't stick a fork in a toaster. We just learn it's a terrible idea. Those social norms, they develop over time with any new technology. It happened with electricity, it happened with the internet. But the problem with AI is that we haven't caught up yet, and this technology is moving faster than anything we have ever seen. So what do we do? Well, the experts are suggesting a pretty practical approach. The idea isn't to start from scratch and invent a whole new set of laws for AI. No, we start with the regulations we already have for humans and we adapt them. We should focus on the high-risk areas first. Things like medicine, finance, law, where getting it wrong has huge consequences. A really key part of this is to build systems that require that human-AI collaboration, basically making the Centaur model the default. And of course, we need to constantly be auditing and monitoring these systems so we actually know what they're doing and can hold them accountable. So when you boil it all down, maybe fearing replacement is the wrong move. Maybe we should be asking a totally different question. We are absolutely entering the age of the centaur, this new era of human-machine collaboration. So the challenge isn't how do I compete with AI? The challenge is how do I become a better partner to AI? The future isn't about what AI is going to do to us. It's about what we are going to do with it. So the real question for you is, what role will you play in shaping it?